Are we on? Are we live? What's going on? Okay. Are we recording? What's going on here? I can't see myself on my screen. All right, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Talks. We're having some technical difficulties here. All right. Hang on tight, everyone. Hello. Are we good? Okay, well, welcome to Tuesday Talks, everyone. Sorry for those technical difficulties. My staff decided to swap out all my computers today with these newer computers, faster computers we got today, and it's been a little bit of a disaster today. But anyway, we're grateful that you've all joined us here today. We've got a great speaker ahead of us here, and I trying to navigate through my system and figure out how to get everything working now. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Let me share with you guys my screen. Here is a young lady that I met, oh God, like 5-6 years ago, okay? And she was actually a dancer. And the way I met her was there was a guy by the name of Psy who came out, big hit. He was a Korean rapper called Gangnam Style, right? And I don't want to show you the video. I wanted to, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And so I never even heard of the thing called Gangnam Style. And I went into a dry cleaner to pick up my dry cleaning. And I had my glasses on, and one of the customers in there said, "Are you that guy?" And I'm like, what guy? You know, I had no idea what they're talking about. They said, "Oh, can I get a photo with you?" And I'm like, sure. And I busted a pose, right? And then right after that, I went to lunch at a place called the Corner Bakery. And there were these people sitting there, and they walked up to me and said, "Oh my God, can we get a photo with you? We love the way you dance." And I was like, what? And I did. I stood up and I did my thing. I come home, I told my wife and my kids about my experience. And they're like, yeah, my kids were like, "Dad, a lot of my friends said you look like that guy." And I go, "What guy?" And that's when they showed me on YouTube a video called Psy. Well, what happened was a friend of mine, her name is Jamie. She calls me up one day and says, "Hey, we're doing this big event. We would like you to impersonate Psy and come out and do this dance routine." I said, "No, no, I don't want to do that." Anyway, she convinced me and I did it. But let me just tell you something. I needed some backup dancers behind me to make me look good because I had no idea how to dance. But if you go on YouTube, right, it's there. And you just got to type in John Shin Gangnam Style. Don't do it now, later on, okay? So I met this girl. She was referred to me, and she was one of the 4 backup dancers. And here she is. And when I first met her, not only was she extremely talented, right? She was an international dance instructor, competed, I mean, super talented. But let me just tell you something, right? She was the artistic director for all these different places. She was featured in MTV's America's Best Dance Crew. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, with Randy Jackson. She now leads today. After I met her, when I first met her, I said, "God, there's something about this girl. So unique, right?" And she had big dreams. And I said to my wife, he said, "Hey, what do you think about her?" And she says, "You know, I really like her. I think she'd be a huge asset." I literally went out of my way, called her up, met with her. We went out to lunch. And then after that, I wouldn't leave her out of my sight. I began to mentor because I don't even think she knew how good she was. Like, that's how good she is. Like, a lot of you right now, I think you don't even know how gifted you are and how talented you are. And all you needed was a coach. And now this young lady here leads a team of over 200 agents around the country, right? She's raised money for various organizations and causes and churches and autism and cancer and canine cancer. She's a huge animal lover, right? She's got a beautiful young one, right? Like I think 1 year old now, right? God, time flies. And of course, she met the love of her life, her husband in this business. Now, the two of them are a dynamic couple power, just crushing it right now. And I just am so grateful that she's able to tune in here right now. And let me just tell you something. I normally would like to do a Q&A, but I'm not going to do a Q&A today. I would love to just let her speak to you guys freely. And without any further ado, let's welcome to our call the one and only Clarizcel Roxas. So Clarizcel, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
You sound wonderful. All right. Well, look, we've got a great audience here today, and everyone is super anxious to hear from you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off my mic and my video, and I just want to let you take it away. And why don't we have you go like 30, 35, 40 minutes. All right?
All right, that sounds
Sounds
good.
good. Go ahead.
Awesome. Well, thank you, first of all, John, for not just the introduction, but for allowing me to come on this call. It's absolutely an honor. As you guys have all seen just how amazing and dynamic John is, it has been a true blessing to be mentored under him over these last few years. I know you didn't get a chance to show the video, but like you said, after this, go ahead and Google it. You can find it on YouTube. It's still there. And I want you to do that so you can kind of see where my humble beginnings are, if you will. And that's really a big part of why I ended up being so passionate about what we do as a business and as a company. It's taking people like me who had no idea what kind of power and, just what was inside of me, essentially. I didn't know. And what John is saying is true. I didn't know. I had no idea anything about business. So you saw kind of my accolades, before business and things like that. And really, at the end of the day, if you can see that, I was creative. I was an artist. I actually craved that starving artist lifestyle. That was like something like so cool to me in my head until I tried to live it, right? And so, a couple things about my background also. I am Filipino, but I am first gen born here in the United States. So my parents are Filipino immigrants that came over to America for essentially what everybody comes here for, which is the American dream. And for them, just to kind of give you guys a little bit about who I am and why I do this and where I'm at today and why that happened, it all starts with kind of where we come from, right? And not that that's to direct us into who we are, but it is a big part of our story. And I think that's so powerful because for me, I grew up with parents who came from poverty. They weren't rich in the Philippines, and it doesn't take a lot to be rich in the Philippines, and they grew up in poverty. My dad was what's called a jeepney driver. He was actually a war veteran as well. He passed away before I ever got to. My grandpa. He passed away before my mom's dad. He passed away before I ever met him. My grandma was a homemaker. She raised 7 kids. My dad's family also raised 7 kids in their family. So these were people who my dad would tell me stories. They would play with sticks and rocks. Literally, him and his brothers and sisters would play with sticks and rocks, and those were their toys growing up. So their one big dream and goal was to work hard and come out of poverty and have a comfortable lifestyle in a great place of opportunity like America. So they actually came here in the 1980s. And I share that with you because that was their dream, and that's what motivated them. And my mother tells me all the time, she actually wanted to be a teacher. That was like kind of her passion and what she wanted to do. But her dream was bigger than just being a teacher. Her dream was actually to bring her family to another level. And I love that John, talks about you may not come from a wealthy family, but may a wealthy family come from you. And that's essentially what any person who has a dream inside their heart and a little ambition, that's what they hope for. What I realize is that when the world kind of comes into place and the society kind of bogs you down with what you can do, what you can't do, what society expects you to be and look like and act like, you forget some of those dreams. So I hope that tonight for the next 30 minutes as he's given me or so, that I can hopefully ignite that spark in you once again, so that you can actually take a look at yourself and say, you know what, maybe I didn't come from a super wealthy family. Maybe I did come from poverty. Maybe I did come, or just a middle class family, but why not? Why can't I create a wealthy family and a full family full of leaders, right? People who can influence the world. I'm not talking about Instagram influences. I mean, people who actually can create change in the world. Why can't a family like that come from me? Why can't those things come from me, no matter what background I had? And those things, all of those things happened because I had people surrounded by me to stretch my vision. So I really want to applaud every single one of the 200 plus people on this call right now for coming on, because that's exactly what you're doing in this moment, especially during a time like this when you can be doing so many things right now. And I think that's the beauty of what's going on with the Zoom is we can reach 200 plus people right now in all parts of the world, essentially, in order to tune in and hear some amazing things from all these different people around the world who could just be like you, right? So I want to just kind of get into how I actually moved from being creative to like a business professional. And it was not easy, and it took a lot of effort on my behalf. But that's all it took. It took some time and it took some effort. It took some desire. John talks a lot about Think and Grow Rich. This is a Think and Grow Rich podcast. And the very first, chapter of that, the very first, point of Think and Grow Rich that he shows is you have to have a desire. That is the number one, the first, aspect that you need to have in order to become successful. And when I say successful, I know there's people who do what I do. And I know there's also in real estate, or maybe they're in, in fitness, or all these, maybe you have some sort of entrepreneurial spirit, or maybe you're trying to, like you said, right? For all of you guys, what I'm going to talk about can influence you and help change your course for the future, no matter what it is that you do. Okay. But I'm going to show you really what that's all about, because for me, I was a dancer, as you said. I was traveling around the world. I was having a wonderful time, to be perfectly honest with you. I enjoyed what I did so much because I loved it. I had a passion for it. I also had a big passion for teaching. And, I'm really trying to do this thing in dance and continue to work my passion and make it my life. And honestly, the hustle of it took away my love for dance. It started to not be fun anymore because it was so hard to make a decent living, and I have huge kudos and respect for all of my colleagues and all the people who continued to pursue through it and who make great, who can make great money there. But for me, I found, what? I feel like there's something more in me. I truly did. I feel like I love this and I enjoy it and it's great, but I just feel like there's something missing. I feel like I can do something more. And I really attribute that to the wonderful mentors I had throughout my whole life. Being in dance as a little kid, I was in dance since I was 3 years old, right? And so I had teachers and these wonderful people who continued to teach and talk to me, share with me, expose me to all these different things and perspectives. And all of those things I appreciated so much that my big goal was to pass that on. My big goal was to continue to pay forward all the things that I've taught. And so as I was standing there, I was a teacher and I was trying to do all those things for myself as well. But there was a big part of me that wanted so much more. And it also honestly, to be totally frank, it also had to do with that I wanted more money. I wanted a little bit more of a stable income. I did have a dream to retire one day and enjoy my life. I did have dreams to save for a vacation and take one that I wasn't working on, right? I had all of these aspirations, and all of those things at the end of the day required what? Money. And so that was about when I was working a day job trying to make that money. And then that's kind of where I settled in. I was like, okay, maybe I do this on the side because I do love it and I'm going to continue, but maybe I get a day job. So as I did that, I ventured through different types of jobs throughout my life, but I realized that I had always had either some sort of passion, some sort of desire in each one of these jobs, or I worked with friends, like literally best friends, and that's why I did the job, right? Like one of my first jobs was working at Golden Spoon. If you guys remember the frozen yogurt place way back when, that was super popular. And so I didn't have a big passion or desire to frozen yogurt, but all my best friends were working there, and so it was fun. So, you know, one thing, when I was looking for something to create the dreams that I had, and when I was looking for that, that's when I encountered this business. This is the exact time I actually met John. And it was when, like I said, I was working a day job, but I was also doing gigs on the side. And that's the gig that I was able to meet John at. So, you know, at the end of the day, dance has brought me everything. And so I still love it to this day. I will still do it as much as I can, whether or not that's just in my bedroom or in my house, or up on a stage, you know, and because one, it's in my heart, but two, it led me to my life that I have today. And I'm so grateful for it. So as I was considering, you know, I talked to John, he kind of vaguely talked to me about what he did and things like that. And it did intrigue me. And so I wondered, you know, what can I do? Right. And so I just want to share, I'm going to actually start a PowerPoint. I just like to have PowerPoints for bullets so that you guys can follow along with me. And, you know, none of us kind of miss what we're kind of talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint and start it here from the start. So this is what I was thinking about, right? One thing that I realized from all the jobs that I did and had over the years, which one did I really enjoy? Could I see myself doing for a long time? And it came down to a couple things. Number one, the people I worked with. Okay. So when I was thinking about what else can I do? Yeah, what else can I do with myself? What can make me money? Do I enjoy the people I work with there? That was one of the questions I needed to ask myself. Two, is what I'm doing a service for others? And essentially, does what I do matter? Okay, and that was really big to me because for me, I was a starving artist, right? People like that, we are driven by emotion. We are driven by knowing we're making a difference. We're driven by something beyond just work, if that makes sense, right? And what's beautiful about that is when people like me, like that, find work that we love, oh, we give it like 200%, or like my dad likes to say, 110%. That was always his thing, right? And then, of course, finally, one of the biggest drivers of leaving kind of the artistic industry was, can it make me good money? And I do put that in quotes for you guys to understand that, you know, good money at the time for me was just, can I make an extra couple $1,000s, right? And that way I can save for things. I can enjoy trips. I can do fun things with my friends while I'm hustling and working a 9 to 5 and doing my dance thing. You know, can I just make a couple extra $1,000s, right? That was all it was for me right in the beginning. And so with that, I met John. He intrigued me. And you know what I love about John, you guys? Someone like me has no background in business, no background in finance, right? I worked at Golden Spoon, which is a frozen yogurt place. I did work as a hospital manager at a veterinary hospital because I love animals. And then I was a dancer. Those are like my three biggest, you know, things that I had done in my lifetime. None of those things equate financial professional, you know, business entrepreneur, leader, even. None of those things equated to that. Right? And so I was very nervous. But one of the things that I'm happy that I did was, a few years before this, I had watched a cool movie called Yes Man. I don't know if you guys have ever watched it. It's fun. It's not like a global, you know, it's not going to win any you know, global you know, global awards or whatever it is. But it's Jim Carrey, and it's about Jim Carrey just kind of always saying no to things because he doesn't think he has time for it. He stresses out about, you know, it going wrong. He just has this negative attitude, and he's forced in the movie to say yes to everything that comes his way. And of course, at first he's hesitant about it and doesn't really give it a shot, and bad things start to happen. So, okay, let me just try this yes thing. And as soon as he does, all the opportunities that were coming towards him, right? What John was talking about earlier. Sometimes when you pray for something to God or the universe, whoever, whatever it is that you seek out for, sometimes when you do that, it comes in different packages, right? And so for me, I realized maybe this opportunity, as much as I didn't have any idea that I could do this, that I had anything like this in me, I said, why don't I just give it a shot? You know, what's the worst that can happen? And so I did this. So something that I learned throughout everything is that passion, I know I talk about that a lot because it's big to me, and I hear it a lot right now out in social media and kind of the communities of the society right now is passion. Do something you're passionate about, right? What are you passionate about? And I want everybody to realize that passion has actually grown, right? You didn't wake up passionate about something. Yeah, and when I say I'm passionate about dance, it's because at 3 years old, I watched a cousin of mine put on tights and a leotard and a little tutu and dance around the living room. And I said, Mommy, I want to try that too. Do you think I was passionate about dance and I wanted to do it the rest of my life? No, but it's something that grew. And so, you know, I'm a big Hamilton fan. I like quote the whole thing. And one of the things in his songs is the plan is to fan this spark into a flame. So really at the end of the day, anything that even gives you an inkling of interest, right? Anything that gives you a spark of that energy, a spark of that, that's cool, that's interesting, maybe I could do it. That is something to look into, right? Now, if you have zero desire about something, okay, right? But if you have some sort of spark that was ignited in you, even by this call, by something you listened to over the weekend, by watching something on TV that says, maybe I can do that, right? That is something to look into because it's grown. It's something that you try. So anything that's like that, when I said yes, was you don't just say yes and say, all right, let me give it a try for a week and see how it goes. Who goes to the gym for a week and then they come out and if they're not 6-packed, you know, 20 pounds down, body fat down to 3%, and if they're not like that, they're like, forget it, doesn't work, you know? I mean, I'm sure there's people like that, right? But I'm sure it's not you, okay? So you got to commit when you try something new, when you say yes to that spark, right? You got to try, give it a real shot. So commit for at least a year to 18 months. And you know, that's really real if you think about it, because any kind of school, whether it's a trade school, you know, you're getting a certification, majority of those things, when it's a real, you know, real course, it's at least a year to 2 years minimum, right? And so if a school is requiring you to do something like this, knowing you cannot possibly understand and learn a whole subject, a whole industry in less than that time, that should tell you something about trying something new, like getting into business or, you know, going into entrepreneur for yourself when you were like me and had none of that. Okay, so you've got to commit to anything. And if you do have that business background, but maybe you're shifting into another one, just because you have that background in another industry, in another company, business, doesn't mean it's going to automatically be perfect for you right away. You've got to give it that 1 year to 18 months of solid focus and give it a true shot. Okay, so that's one thing I want you guys to definitely do. Then, right, you have to absolutely find yourself a mentor or a coach, you know, some sort of leader, someone that you can go to who has done what you're doing successfully. Okay, John tipped on this a little bit, and I want you guys to know, if I asked my parents who built our stable, wonderful life on an employee salary and worked that way for 30 years, you know, nonstop. My mother was at Wells Fargo for 29 or 30 years straight. You know, they're not going to give me the right kind of mentorship and the right kind of coaching to start a business because they have not done that before. They care and they have some knowledge, right? They had some insight on things here and there, and they were great with providing that. But they were not, number one, they were not supportive. So don't get that, you know, don't get that twisted. They were not supportive at first, but they loved me enough to say, all right, we'll you know, we'll be there for you when you fail, which I'm pretty sure is what they were thinking. But anyhow, you've got to be asking the right counsel from people who have been successful at what you do. Also be very careful. You're not talking to people who were unsuccessful at what you're trying to do, right? There's a reason. There's always a reason. So something that me and my husband love to tell people, whenever you have some sort of job opportunity, career that you're going to, one of my goddaughters just turned 18. She just went into college and she wants to become a nurse. I said, have you ever volunteered at a hospital? Have you ever done any kind of that work, right? Because nursing is a beautiful, beautiful profession. It is not easy. And she said, no. And I said, well, you might want to do that for at least a summer or something and make sure that's really what you want to do. So I encourage you guys to all do that. Interview someone who's been doing what you want to do for the last 15, 20 plus years, right? A long time, and they're successful at it. And if you look at their life and you look at their lifestyle, who they are, how they are with their families, what that looks like, all those things that are important to you. And if their life looks like what you want, you've got a mentor, you've got a leader. So for me, I saw John and Arlene, and what he said is exactly true, right? He called me up. He invited me, to check out, what he does. And we sat down over lunch. And I spoke with Arlene, his wife, beautiful wife, and they were amazing, and they were not your typical rich people, right? They were not. I had this huge misconception that all people with a lot of money were snobby. They were greedy. They just took their money and they did stuff for themselves, right? These people were not it. If you were to meet John on the street corner, passing through a light or something like that, you would never know the power, the influence, the money he's got behind, this awesome face of his, right? You really would. And same with Arlene. She's the sweetest, most generous woman, opens up her home to us. And what he said was correct. He didn't leave me out of her sight. That is a good mentor and a coach as well, right? Taking you literally under their wing and not letting you leave their sight until they can kind of flap their wings a little bit, right? And so do that because you want to be surrounded by who you want to become. You want to look at their life, and I did. They had a beautiful family of 4 kids who were awesome. I became good friends with them right away. They had their parents over. I was part of like some of their family celebrations sometimes, and just it was the life I wanted. You guys, it opened up my eyes so much to what I could have that I had no idea was possible. Okay, to have wealth, to have influence over people, because people were coming up to John left and right saying, thank you. Hey, it's nice to see you, and just kind of treating him with so much respect because of how much they admired him and his leadership, right? That is the kind of effect I wanted to have on people, and not to have the influence, it's to influence people enough to affect change. That really is my ultimate goal. I want to help change people so that they can go and be their best selves. That is my ultimate goal at the end of the day, right? So you've got to make sure you find a mentor or a coach before you commit to being their apprentice. Look at their lifestyle, interview them, right? Do they have a wonderful family, a great marriage? Are they good people? Do people respect them, right? Or are they someone that a lot of people talk crap about, right? You got to be careful about who it is that you're following. And if you don't want to be that person that you're following, find a different one, right? There's plenty out there. Find a different one. And if you ever need one, you see John right there. We're happy to take on people as well. I learned from the best, right? Moving on, around the same kind of idea, surround yourself with people that uplift you. I recently, from a cousin of mine who's wonderful, she actually sent me a video of Stacey Flowers, which is a great woman you can find on YouTube. And it was about finding happiness. And a big part of finding happiness is about figuring out who belongs in your inner circle, right? And a lot of successful businesses are all about who is in your inner circle, okay? So you've got to really evaluate who you're spending your time with. There's that quote that I know everybody knows: you are the equivalent of the 5 people you surround yourself the most with. Who are those 5 people? And are they growing you, or are they taking you down? Are they boggling you where at the end of the day you're exhausted, you're irritable, you just want to go to bed? Or are you uplifted? Are you full of ideas? Are you thinking about what else you can do, what you guys can do together? Those are the 2 different types of people that you're going to have in your life. And whether or not you can cut them out, you don't necessarily have to, but who are you going to spend more time with? Who, when you're down, are you going to reach out to that will lift you up? Those are the people you want to spend time with. Those are the people you want to invest in, right? We all only have a certain number of time on this life, right? We all only have about 3,600 seconds in a day. And even if those 10 seconds in a day, someone that brings you down, it can make it feel like they just took up half your day, can't it? I know you guys know what I'm talking about. When you have a conversation with someone and it is so draining and you're just like, I can't believe that was 2 minutes. It felt like it was 3 hours, right? Whereas on the opposite end, you could be maybe your best friend, maybe just someone who gives you a ton of energy. You could be with them for hours, right? And you had no idea that time flew by so fast, right? You'll wake up or you look at the clock and all of a sudden it's midnight and you're like, where did the time go? Yeah, so feel people around that are gonna uplift you, who are gonna support you, of course, right? Now, people like my my parents who are very traditional Filipinos, they are wonderful because they love so hard and so generously, but they worry because they love so hard and so generously. So people can worry about you and love you, right? But they might not be uplifting for you. And there is a difference. And I encourage you to have the strength and courage to kind of spend your time with the people who are actually going to grow you, okay? And lift your minds. Lift your minds is a very important one as well, okay? Follow a system, yes, and master that system. So this actually goes with not just a business, but any sort of organization or any sort of endeavor that you're going with. Imagine, even if it had to do with your health, yes? When we talk about health, when we listen to all these different ways to get healthy and eat better, there's a plan, isn't there? There's always a plan. There's always a schedule. That is the system, okay? So turning that into business and actually realizing everything that's successful has a successful, well-oiled machine that runs and runs and runs no matter what. So finding something that has an amazing system and being able to master that system, right? It isn't just about it having it. Then it's about you mastering that system. When you can master that system, ooh, you can do whatever it is you ever wanted to do. So if you're asking yourself, well, how did you come from being a dancer? I loved ballet. That was actually my original, my original, I guess, passion. That's what I grew up doing. I was on point. I wanted to be a prima ballerina. And then I realized I'm Filipino, I'm 5'2", and I probably wouldn't be able to get very far in that world. I followed my other kind of passions, right? And it was hip hop and lyrical, which is like contemporary that they call these days. I love tap, all those different things, right? So even when it came to that, right? When I started at 3 years old, yeah, I liked it, right? This is where I committed. So my mother committed for me, right? So that's something she taught me. When you commit to something, you follow through. So I went to classes for a whole year and I enjoyed it. It grew. I tried it once. It was cool. I was a little scared. I was timid, very, very timid child. But I liked it. I enjoyed the people in my class. I did it for a year. And then I got more serious into it, right? And then about when I want to say 9 or 10, the teachers talked to my parents and I said, oh, do you want to try doing competition, or any of these shows that we have, because, you're getting better and better. Do you want to do that? And so, they put me up with this amazing teacher. She was my coach, right? And I had some solos with her, right? Private time. And I lifted myself and grew and grew and grew. And then all of a sudden, I had this system that they laid out. They said, okay, if you want to be at this level with our studio, with our company, these are the classes you need to take. This is the progress we're going to expect to see, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was a system, right? You follow, and then you master that system so you can continue to teach it over and over again. So knowing that, I think that is one of the wonderful things I got from that is I use that same discipline and that same mindset to put it into something new, because at the time that was new, right? Anything that you start is new, yes? So you're going to have to put yourself in, I'm new, I'm gonna learn this from the best, and then I'm gonna try to master it, and then I'm gonna teach it to others. That should always, always, always be the course, right? So here I followed the system that they had for this business. And by doing that, I just kind of mastered it. And you know what's beautiful about the awesome coach that I have, not to brag or be biased here, right, is that a system works if the person who's been doing this for the last 25, 30 years, who makes multiple 7 figures, is still doing the exact same things. So when I learned how this business works, business works and how this system works, I actually looked back and I saw how he did every step of it for me. You know what I mean? So it was amazing. Basically, the onboarding of someone new like me, he did exactly what I was taught to do moving forward with others, right? And so I knew that this worked because he was doing it when he did not have to. Does that make sense? And so you've got to know that you got to follow a system, and I should probably put in there, you got to follow a system that works and that has been proven to be successful, like the one ours is, right? So you've got to find that out. And last but not least, on how to grow, right? How to fan a spark into a flame that's ignited and can't stop burning, is to compound your efforts through consistency. If you were, this is very, very true for anything that I've ever delved into and any business or people that I've ever talked to, one of the biggest holes any business has is consistency. They lack consistency, right? They lack discipline. They lack consistency in doing the right things over and over and over again until the results you're looking for have been achieved. All right. So this is something that you guys, I'm sure, have heard is, the story of the tortoise and the hare, and that slow and steady wins the race, right? So this is actually a real photo of one of my tortoises. His name is Bullseye. And and it's because I do love animals. As John lamented, I have 5 tortoises now. So, this is one of my bigger ones. But yeah, if you've ever heard the story of, the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady wins the race, I'm the tortoise for sure. Yeah, all it is about giving me enough time. I will beat anyone, anytime, any competition. And it's not because I'm the best. It's not because I'm the smartest. By far, I had 0 experience in this, as I've mentioned. I'm not the smartest person out there. I did not get like 1,600 on my SATs. I was a very average person, okay? I really was, okay? But why is because of the positive habits that I was able to learn and create, right, through the leadership and mentorship that I had, the people I surrounded myself by, and then continuously stepped one foot over the other, right, and grew and applied and developed every single day for the last almost 7 years now, right? From that is how I got to the end of this race, right? And it's not even the end of this race, to this lap. This is how I crossed one of my laps, right? Faster than other people and better than other people. And it wasn't because I iterate, not that I'm better. It's not that. It's that I used the system better than others. It's that I continued to walk step by step, one in front of the other, right? Consistently, not looking around and tripping over things, right? It doesn't mean I didn't trip, but I would get right back up. Yes, and I would continue to do that over and over and over again. It's about habits. It's about your choices every single day. That is that's the compound effect. If you guys have never read that book, I know we're throwing a lot of books at you that are awesome, but the compound effect is another one. Darren Hardy, Compound Effect. You can actually get a lot of wonderful things about how to influence your life on any level from that book. And part of that is here. So this is actually from the book. And it is, about 27 months is what he says is where really massive differences in your life and your choice and your habits and, the results of what you have. The results there on the left, right? Your income, your health, your relationships, your happiness, your success, all of that in about 27 months, you'll either see you'd be exactly the same if you did no changes. You would be much worse, massively worse, maybe overweight. Maybe your family has been broken up. Maybe you're severely unhappy. Maybe you have a lot of mental health issues and probably physical issues as well. And your income may or may not have plummeted. Maybe you really have been through this pandemic in a terrible way. Or you were on the other end. If you continue to grow yourself, right, one step over the other, every single choice, every single behavior, compounding on itself over time, you might be massively more wealthy. You might be in the best shape of your life. You might have the most amazing relationships between your families, your spouses, maybe your parents or your siblings, ultimately extremely happy and fulfilled, essentially, and severely successful. I would say any of those things, definitely successful, right? But if you notice, if you're looking at that, for the first 2 years, right? All the way up to about 24 months, it shows there. Nothing. You will see nothing. This is where you see that tortoise, right? Walking real slow. And it's like, they're not going anywhere. How are they supposed to win this race? And it's because at the very end, that's when you see, this is where you kind of see overnight successes. Yes, and it's because they're not overnight successes. It's because you don't see the 27 months behind them, that there were failures. There were things that they had to grow from. There were adversities that came over and tried to get them down. There were people who said no. There were families who rejected them. All of those things you do not see. But what the successful people do, what that person, that guy at the top did, was continue to power forward every single moment, no matter what. Right? It's kind of like looking at, I love the water too. I'm a beach girl. If you're out on the ocean in the waves, I'm not a surfer, but if you were a surfer and you were sitting on the paddleboard, right? And, in 10 seconds, a huge wave can come through, knock you over, off your board, get you struggling to come back up and get to water, and then you get to your board. There are 3,600 seconds in a day. That was maybe 10 or 15 seconds of it. The question is, those moments, are you allowing your whole days to be completely consumed by that quick moment of a wave crashing? Or do you get right back on your board, shake it off, right, and wait for another good wave to come through with optimism? And it's that choice right then and there to say, that was just a moment. I'm going to let it pass. I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to keep going. Those are the moments, those are the choices, right, that are going to affect your behavior. And all of those things now become your habit. Now, every time a crazy wave comes in, something happens to you. You trip, you fall. Someone says no, someone rejects you, someone cancels on you, someone reschedules on you, right? You let it come through, you feel the feelings, yes, and then you get right back up. That's the habit that you're going to form. When you do that, guess what? That's going to build a momentum. And if you notice that momentum coming up at about 25, 26 months, and then right at that 27 month, boom, you explode. Yes? Now, here's the crazy part. Compound effect like this can go for you, like I'm explaining, or can go against you. Imagine if the choices are instead, you get flushed down by that wave and you stay down. You stay down underwater. Then you get back up and you're miserable. You've got sand all over your face. You don't even shake it off. You come back on the shore and you shut off the rest of the day. Well, guess what? Those waves are going to come no matter what. Doesn't life happen to you anyway? Don't the things come at you no matter what it is that you're doing? Things hit us. Tragedy happens, right? We will fall. It's life. That is, what they call the cycle of life, the roller coaster of life, all those different things that they talk about. It's because inevitably we are going to fall. We're gonna be splashed with water. The question is, what are you going to do afterwards? And that answer is what you're going to choose to do is what's going to eventually create your success or your failure, right? It's going to ultimately create your happiness or your misery. It's going to ultimately create a beautiful, wonderful, happy, fulfilled family who enjoys each other, or a family that's completely broken, doesn't even talk to each other. It's going to create wealth, money that you don't even know what to do with anymore. You don't have enough money to give away at that point, right? Or you can be down, struggling, homeless, truly struggling during this pandemic. Nothing can help you at that point, right? All of those things, they start with you. Ultimately, it is your responsibility to choose that every single moment of every single day. And that's going to determine where it is, right? So, I think about this because we're in this pandemic and it is now 6 months in, right? Over 6 months in. And I also went through a terrible, moment during the around May and June, when things really got crazy in the world and in America with the pandemic, people losing jobs, businesses shutting down one after another. Then there's some civil unrest going on, one after another. Then influential people, big people are dying, and all of it's just crashing down and crashing down and crashing down. And, just to kind of fast forward real quick, this is about compounding your effects. I'm just going to go through for time. But what if, you know, Leslie Dwight is a poet, wrote this poem about 2020. I'm sure you've seen it. What if 2020 isn't canceled? What if 2020 is the year we've been waiting for? A year so uncomfortable, so painful, so scary, so raw, that it finally forces us to grow. A year that screams so loud, finally awaking us from our ignorant slumber. Powerful words. Yes, and I agree to it. I agree with this very much, but I also have a different perspective. 2020, this year, and all the things that have happened, good and bad, are inevitable things that happen because of the compounded effect of what everybody's done over the last 27 months. For me, this year wasn't just for us waiting to happen. It was supposed to happen, but this year was inevitable. And that's kind of how I look at life, is every single day is going to move forward, and time isn't running out. Your life is, right? You have to understand that you're only given so many seconds on this earth, and what are you going to do with it, right? Are you going to make it so that a year like this is going to happen in another 27 months, or is that 27 months from now going to look completely different because you decided to take this year and not be down about it, right? Feel the feelings. Yes, I felt my feelings, and then I got up and I said, what can I do to change my life so that I don't have to feel this way anymore? Okay, and what have you done to do that? And I hope that if you haven't found the courage to, I can give you some of that courage too, right? Some things that I've done is with our team, we do champions calls every single morning, and it's at 9 a.m. every single morning, and we get a group of people together from our team, and we connect, and we talk about what we're grateful for. We talk about what our goal is for today. Right? And then Raymond usually comes up with some, my husband is right there, Raymond comes up with some sort of important question for all of us to dig deep, right? So we're constantly growing, we're connecting with, we're doing something about it. Another thing, I was actually trying to put it on here, but I couldn't get it on with the video or something like that. So I'm just gonna kind of show it to you from here. But I also, from basically the beginning of this, actually we started last year around September, I want to say, but from the beginning of this year, I have this app, my little background, it's called Day One. I got it from my cousin, and I do this diary that says Gratitude Challenge 2020, and I literally started on day one, January 1st, 2020, and I did it every single day. Every single day, I do 10 things I'm grateful for, 10, right? 10 things every single day. So, you know, when everything was going wrong, I went through a mini depression of like, what world am I in, right? I went through stages of grief. Why am I even running this business? Why am I working so hard? What is the point? I went through that. Yes? What got me out of it was what I built as a habit to continue to be grateful for what I do have, to continue to connect with other people who can give me light and energy, to connect with someone like John to remind me the power that I do have within myself, that I can do something about the climate that we're in, right? I can. And so what are you doing to help you get through these moments of life that are going to continue to happen for yourself, right? And I want to talk really quick about women in business, because I think this is something that I've felt a very deep calling for, is to encourage more women in here to be forefront in business, all right? Here are some amazing ladies that I love. All of them, multiple streams of income, leaders in business, right? And they started off doing what they were good at, and then they continue to grow from there. Wonderful, successful leaders in this world, women, yes? These are some reasons why all of you women on here need to understand that you can do this, and you should. We have the power. We value work-life balance. We're empathetic. We're great listeners. We focus on teamwork. We love the energy of people. We're good at multitasking. We're motivated by challenges. We're great communicators. We have high emotional intelligence. This is why we can feel, but we can use that to fuel us in a positive way. We know how to check our egos. We lead by example. We defy the odds, right? We are so poised for leadership. We are so poised to be huge entrepreneurs and lead this country in business We just need to be given the chance. And because John gave me the chance, this is my calling to provide that chance for all of you on this call in some way. And for those men on here, right, this isn't to make us better. This is so that, you know, I want all the women to come to the table. Yes, because we have so much to offer, okay, so that we can help you, right? I do this with my husband because we have this equal partnership that is amazing, and it has brought about a beautiful business and a wonderful life for us because we've done it together. So many of the women out there can help the men create some amazing, amazing things, right? Here's the proof. Women in leadership led around the world the best responses about coronavirus. Why? Number one, they actually were very honest and truthful. They were transparent. They did all of those things, right? Number two, they were decisive. They understood. They got advice and counsel from people who were, you know, better at this than they were, and then they made quick decisions and stuck to it, right? They used technology. They were resourceful, right? Technology. They used that. They used what they had at their disposal. And last but not least, guess what? One of the things that Forbes actually said that the women had in common in their success with containing the coronavirus around the world was that they used love. So some emotions like that a lot of people would think is weak from a woman, I'm here to tell you, it was actually our strength all along. Yes, we've got to be people that understand and push others to use our strengths that we already have and amplify them. Right? Something that I realized and learned through learning from this business and being exposed to some amazing, wonderful people who do good with the power and the wealth that they have is that money doesn't make you greedy, right? It doesn't make you a bad person. It actually amplifies who you are. So if you already were kind of a snobby, greedy person, money just amplified that. But if you were a good, kind-hearted, giving, generous person, money amplifies that. Right? So don't be afraid of money like I was, right? And I want to say one last thing about the fact that, you know, we need to understand who's around us to help us. I actually am not immune for someone like me to be where I'm at today, which is, you know, we actually have, you know, people in our business from across the United States, hundreds of people within it, in our organization. I actually make, over the last less than 7 years, I've actually increased my old income from like my day job by 5 times. 5 times since my day job, since joining this business, not even 7 years ago, right? How many of you guys can say that at your job, you could guarantee that you could make at least 5 times what you're making in the next 7 years just by working hard? I don't know any other place, right? But it doesn't mean that I was immune, that my family was immune from the highs and lows of this business. This picture, I don't know if John remembers this. This picture was December 13th, 2018. My little son right there was just born. And he was a huge blessing, but a huge curveball I was not ready for. And we struggled. We struggled with our business. We struggled financially. And me and my husband almost separated, not marriagely, but physically separated, so that I would actually go and live with my parents for a little while so that I could have shelter and someone to watch my son so that we could both work, right? And that he would actually stay where we were trying to build our business here in Southern California. And that he would actually, you know, be able to full force focus, and we'd save. Yes, we'd save on like rent or, you know, mortgage or anything like that at that time. So, and you know what's funny? A lot of people that we told that you know, that story to, that we were thinking about this plan, to our family members and people not in our business, not doing what we're doing, a lot of them said, that makes sense. You know, I get that. It's a small sacrifice, but, you know, imagine how much you'll save. And then, you know, you can do something with that later. Well, we went to John because we knew better. We were taught better. We said, let's talk to our mentor now. Yes, and he told us, why are you separating? Why would you do that? You have an amazing place that you can make the money just by doing X, Y, and Z. You know what he did? He mentored us. He took the emotion out of our brains and out of our mind, and he knew what we were capable of, that we weren't sure that we were at that moment. And he also knew what the opportunity we had in our hands if we just used it appropriately. And he took all the emotion and stress and worry that we had in our hearts that were blocking that view from us, and he shared it with us in such a direct, honest, loving way that we said, oh, You know what? You're right. And, 1 year later, exactly 1 year later, actually it was 2 days before this, December 11th, 2018, we had this huge, humongous team over at John's house for Christmas. This was obviously around Christmas. You see the decorations. My son is now 1 year old in that photo, right? And our business flourished that year. And we did not separate. We did not save a little bit of money. We stayed together. We used each other as fuel to move forward. We did what we could. We took all of John's advice, right? And we are so glad we did not listen to everybody else. So glad. Because not only that, this business gave me my husband. I met my husband here. And, when they talk about the 5 people that you surround yourself with, guess what? I wanted to surround myself with someone with a great mind, with someone with ambition, with someone with goals that aligned with mine. And I found him here. We got married in San Francisco, beautiful dream wedding that I'd always wanted. We had our son who was born, who is the light of my life, if anybody knows me. And, through that, even during, after being worried about money, and then our mentor coming in and being able to say, what are you doing? What are you talking about? What are you thinking? Let's change that right now. Right? This is why coaching a mentor is so key. And we said, I don't know what we're thinking. What are we thinking? Let's do this. That we were able to go to the snow. We got on a boat. We did so many things with our family. We actually visited London that same year. That's at the Tower Bridge. We went to the Philippines, which is an amazing experience and beautiful country. We went to Hawaii, actually was one of our last big trips before the pandemic happened. And you know what? We walked into one of our company, events, as you see here, and we were actually one of the top people in John's organization, which could have not been happened if we gave into our fears. None of this would have happened if we gave into our fears, right? And then since then, as much as a lot of people are just trying to survive this pandemic, the truth is my family and I are thriving. We bought our first house, right? We actually just celebrated our birthday. Me and my son have a twin birthday. It was on Friday. He is now 2 and I am older than that. And it was amazing. We came up to see my family. We did everything we wanted to do, even though there was a pandemic. You know what? It didn't faze us because we had everything we needed. We were clear about what we wanted to do with our life. We were clear about the kind of change and effect we wanted to have. And that drives us every single day to wake up excited about sharing this with others, helping other people grow. On my birthday, in our business, we actually get paid about 8 times a month. 8 times a month, if you didn't know, we get paid. Where most places you get paid maybe twice a month at most. So we get paid 8 times a month, and one of those paychecks happened to come on my birthday. You know what excited me the most is one of my teammates got a check more than mine, which was so exciting because for me, I'm not money motivated, you guys. I'm motivated by that, what you see there. That smile on that face is because I love the life that I live. And it's because we have the freedom from the fact that we worked hard to get that kind of freedom and choices into our life. I choose to stay home with my son. I really feel, I feel bad, and I do feel bad for the people. I have a lot of empathy for the people who have children in school, and you're not sure, should I send them in? Should I not? Should I teach them at home? And having that just like worry, I feel bad because I will never have that issue. I will never have that issue because I can choose it 100%. I chose to stay home with my son because he gives me so much joy and light. I choose to take care of him, and I can because of this business and what it's done for me. So if I look at myself, back when I was a dancer, didn't know who I was, didn't know what I wanted to do, if this thing was real, what it can do for me, who this Shin guy was, right, that I was getting to know. God, I think about sometimes every day what my life would have been if I didn't have this. And I think about if John never picked up the phone and called me and offered me an opportunity in business and in finance, where would it be today? And I think that is so key. I'm going to end on that note because I want you all to imagine where you're at today. And if you're happy and you're thriving, what led you to that? And who brought you into that lifestyle? And what if they never did? And I want you to keep that in your heart and say, what am I not taking an opportunity of? And what am I not sharing an opportunity with others who are just like me, whose life is completely changed, whose dreams are just flowing left and right into our life, and we are beyond happy, we're fulfilled. And I can't thank John enough. I didn't mean for this to be a big John story, but truthfully, where I'm at today is because of that, period. Right? So I do want to end on that note. Thank you, John, so much for the opportunity. And I hope, and I pray that I was able to inspire even one of you. That was actually one of my goals today, to inspire someone with what I did, to hope that you guys can see that you can do it too.
That was spectacular, Clarizcel. Thank you. Thank you. You see all the hands going up, popping up, you guys. That was incredible, you guys. She just told it to you guys from her heart. There was nothing sugar-coated there. I mean, she was about as genuine and sincere as you could possibly think. So if you don't know her, you need to get to know her. And if you are new, you may even want to reach out. You know, if you heard about this podcast through some of our Facebook or Instagram and you joined us today, you know, feel free to reach out to Clarizcel, and she would be happy to chat with you about so many things. And I just want you to know we're both here to help you guys out. Thank you very much. Say hello to your husband, a big kiss to your son. You guys, let me just tell you, next week, okay, we have a great, another great speaker with Dr. James Dentley. Okay, now I can sit here and talk all about his bio. He's an amazing individual. Next week, same time, you got to make sure that you guys register. And here's what I want you guys to know. I'm going to give you guys a special giveaway. Who wants a giveaway? Anybody want a giveaway? All right, let me give you guys my giveaway here real fast. All right. So here's the deal. I want to give you guys a copy of my book, a hard copy of my book. It will be autographed, dedicated to you. All right. I'm also going to throw in this thing. I just got this, by the way, from the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Don Green, the executive director, just sent it. I received it in a box, and he gave me 2 copies, okay, of this. It's the Keys to Success. It's his book, Keys to Success. Let me show you guys. Here it is right here. Okay, you guys can see it. And there are 6 audio tapes in this thing. And I opened it up, and I was like, oh, my God, this thing is spectacular, right? And so it's, just so you guys know, I want to give it to you guys, special giveaway. And not only am I going to give away my book and the Keys to Success, the 6 CD audio, but I'm also going to throw in a Ben Franklin. How's that, right? I want to give you guys all this. Who wants to qualify for this right here? Anybody? Give me your hands up. Down below, raise your hand. Down below, hit that little link. Okay, good, good, good. I love it. It's flying. Numbers are flying. Okay, so here's what you need to do. Here's what you got to do. Stay close attention to what I'm going to share with you, because I'm looking for the next Clarizcel, right? The next Clarizcel Roxas and the next Ray Roxas. Who would it be? I want to mentor you, okay? So here are the rules. What I need you to do is take that slide of Dr. James Dentley. You're going to post it on your social media. Tag me at John Shin Official. You're going to tag me so I know that you actually posted it. And then you've got to have 3 guests tune into and stay till the end of it. Now, we can track, just so you know, who falls off and how long they stayed on, what time. We can literally track on that on the system we've got with Zoom. So this will be there. They got to be on for the whole time. Guests must have registered date. There's a date that they have to register. And this is where you go at bit.ly/John Shin Tuesday Talks link. Make sure you let them know that it is case sensitive. Okay, case sensitive. So here's what you do. When you go in there, make sure right in here, it says the name of the inviter. Can you guys see this down below? Right? It says name of inviter. This is where your name's going to go. How did you hear about? They got to fill this in. If your name goes in here, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put your name in a raffle. We're literally going to go, here's your name. We're going to write it on a piece of paper, put it in a hat, and we're going to draw that hat live on this platform to see who the winner is going to be, right? So just wanted you guys to know that. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So those of you that want to do that, great. And then the winner, we're actually going to give you another little special something, but you got to make sure you're there with us next Tuesday, that you also have to be there to the very end. And we're going to turn your mic on, and then that way you can have a couple words on our podcast as well. Okay. Other than that, make sure everyone with 3 or more guests will put your name into a raffle. There'll be a random drawing of those names on October 6th on the Tuesday Talks episode. Find out who the winner is, and good luck to everyone. We'll give that away. We're really excited to do it. If you're not watching the 10/6 Tuesday Talk episode and your name is called, you will be disqualified, and it'll go to the next person, okay? Other than that, you guys, tomorrow at 6:30, wait a second. Is this, this is the wrong time, sorry. Tomorrow, look at the flyer, not at the big thing. 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Tomorrow, I'm going to do something very special. I'm going to give you guys an orientation. So those of you that are joining us and want to get more information, tomorrow I'm going to give you all the details on what you need to do to get started. There you go. We just made the change. Take a picture of that. Make sure you guys register down below. It's very important that you register. And then this coming Thursday, I got my financial literacy thing with Prudential with Matt Homa. And again, this coming Saturday, there'll be no convention, there'll be no podcast, no Shintastic Saturday due to our national convention. You're all welcome to come and be a part of this. All I need you to do is register right here. So you're going to go to this site down below, register. We'll have about 20,000 people attending this event. It's available for only $25. We got some great speakers lined up for this on September 25th and 26th from 11 to 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And then when it says who your CEO is, make sure that you put my name, select that, and we look forward to having you guys at this convention. Okay, other than that, we'll see you next week on Tuesday, everyone, with Dr. James Dentley. I'm telling you, between him and Les Brown, it's kind of like, you know, and by the way, he and Les Browns are like the best of friends. And so just wanted you guys to know that. You guys have yourself a fabulous week. Thank you so much for being here today. And Clarizcel, you did a great job. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of you. Good night and take care, everyone.